We are back. We are back with season 2. So we're ready to shake things up in 2026.
Hello, bebes.
This episode is all about the questions that you guys have been asking us. So if you, wherever you are listening to this podcast, you can always send us an email. You can reach out to us. Just go to seriouslywhat40.com and send us your questions, because these are some of the best questions that we've gotten so far. So first one we're going to do, and I'll here, you read the question and I'll answer it.
Okay. You ready, honey buns?
Sure.
All right.
Let's go.
Why does sex hurt now?
Okay. So this is one that people ask, and I thought people were crazy. I'll tell you, when I first turned 40, I was like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. I actually experienced this firsthand. And so if you are 40 and you haven't experienced this, I'm really, really sorry. But it's when your estrogen starts to decline, all the tissues down there, everything basically, if you think about it, like old women and like they're frigid and mean or whatever, like there's no elasticity left down there anymore.
Your vag is angry.
Yes. And I'm telling you, and my poor husband, hopefully he never, ever listens to this podcast. And hopefully only those on YouTube are going to see how red my face is going to get. But it was, first I got to a point where I used to have really great orgasms. And then I hit perimenopause and the orgasms were gone. Like there was just no orgasms at all. It was like my clitoris was just dead. Like there was nothing. And then it got to the point where we would have sex and it literally felt like I was ripping open. Like I was just like, it was like, I could just envision it. And I was like, yeah. Like, no, you got to go slow. Like it would feel like everything was ripping open.
Yeah.
And I remember going and I was asking my doctor, I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And so I didn't realize this whole vaginal atrophy thing is a thing. So when that estrogen goes away, that's what happens. So there are estrogen creams and suppositories and all this other stuff that you can have. But I wanted to talk about, because of this question with sex hurting now, about the orgasms. One of the best things my husband and I did.
By the way, so sorry. You know how many people are relating to this right now?
Good.
Okay, good. So continue.
But so the orgasms, because of the estrogen going away, your clitoris loses sensitivity, right? And so I listened to this sex podcast and this lady was saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? And so I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And so I was telling my husband about this and I had said, for the longest time, I had this really great vibrator. So anyways, we went and I told my husband for our anniversary, I said, I want to go to a sex shop. And he was looking at me like, okay. And I was like, no, I really want to go back and I want to find a vibrator. I said, I've been reading these studies and it says like, if I can achieve orgasm, like it'll make our sex life better, because orgasm releases oxytocin and the oxytocin can help with estrogen. So the whole sex thing can be better. And so we went into this store and there was this amazing woman up front, and I was telling her, I was like, I used to have this vibrator and it was like pink and it did this stuff and everything. And she was so sweet. She opens up this drawer and she's like, does it look like any of these? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was looking and I was like, I think it's that one. And she goes, here. She's like, and she hands it to me and she turns it on. She's like, here, hold it. She's like, what do you think? And she's like, you can push the button and there's all these other, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yes,
so
I want
juicy.
that. And she's like, I will let you know that's like one of our more expensive vibrators. I was like, I don't care how much it costs.
Yeah.
I looked at my husband and I was like, he goes, I don't care. I don't care. And I'm telling you, I started using the vibrator. I started having amazing orgasms. It's so funny. I actually had this conversation with my mother not too long ago in a hot tub. And my poor, bless her heart, 16-year-old was nearby me. And she's like, Mom, you and Dad think you're so quiet when you have sex and I can totally hear you. And I'm like, oh,
that's so
I was like,
cringe.
So I just looked at my 16-year-old daughter. I was like, well, look at it this way. Be happy that your mother at 47 is still having really good sex. And
You
she's
should
like,
be having sex at 47.
I don't want to know any of that.
Yeah.
But so anyways, if you are struggling, get your partner involved. If they will let you involve, I'm the vibrator, not the dildo kind of thing. Yes, there's the difference for people that are like, what? But the stimulation on the clitoris can help you with the orgasm. The orgasm then, if you can orgasm before sex, it helps to loosen everything and you have some of the elasticity about. Again, HRT will help. If you're doing estrogen, you can do estrogen stuff. But for me, of course, with all my freaking allergies, I was allergic to any kind of like estrogen creams or anything like that. So my HRT, I have to take a pill for estrogen. But so I started doing all this research. So this is a bonus for all the women that are natural.
Yeah.
If you will take saw palmetto, and I actually experienced this one time with one of my female bodybuilders. She was accidentally taking the men's vitamins instead of women's.
Okay.
And so saw palmetto is actually a supplement that men use for prostate health.
Oh.
Again, same thing, sexual health, whatever. If you take half the dose of saw palmetto, I'm telling you, I was so slippery and wet down there, like I thought I was ovulating again. And my blood work confirmed, no, you're definitely in menopause. But I was like, you're sure I'm in menopause? Because this literally feels like I'm ovulating, and I don't want to have
put that in the link so people can like.
I'll put the supplement, and it's literally
That's good.
It's on
That's
Amazon.
Yeah, okay.
But you can do that, or you can also take one Brazil nut a day and eat one Brazil nut a day.
So we're eating nuts now.
Yes, we're eating nuts now.
Perfect.
But so there you go. So that will change if sex is hurting, because it's not. I promise you, it's not all lost. There are ways that you can figure it out
Okay.
and get it back.
Wow, that's really good insight.
Yeah, that all came from one question.
Wow, that's a lot of information. All right.
Okay, so now the next question. This one is for you.
Oh God.
Ozempic Face.
Yes.
Talk about Ozempic Face.
It's all over.
Why, what it is, what you can do about it. Is there any way to avoid it?
Yeah, I think there is. So Ozempic Face, for those who don't know, is when you're on Ozempic, let's just say, or the GLP ones. And mind you, Ozempic is just a brand name. It's like saying Kleenex, but it's tissue, you know? So anyway, so Ozempic Face is a thing that people have been using in the industry. So when you start to lose a lot of weight and rapidly, you're losing the fat not only on your body, but you're also losing it on your face. So you start to look very gaunt, like very sunken in, because you're part of the reason where we look so youthful at a younger age is because we do have that fat, that healthy, good baby fat, as we say, in our faces. So when we start to lose that, anyway, you're losing it as you get a little older. And then to put Ozempic on top of that, you're going to lose a lot of the fat, and then starts to like shift the way you look. And there are other things you can do to like replace some of that. But this goes back to what we were saying, lose it steady, nice and slow. So though you're not, yes, your body's going to look amazing, but then your face is going to look wonky after that. So Ozempic Face is the thing. You're going to lose the fat, whether it's on your body or your face. So there's no way of preventing it to go about it. I mean, if you have here's another thing though, if you've got a chubby face or like the double chin or the turkey neck, and if you're losing the weight, you're going to have loose skin. So you'll look jowly, or your face is just not the same after losing a lot of weight, whether it's with Ozempic or without it. And there are different things and different modalities you can use to help replenish some of that volume loss, whether it's with Sculptra or fillers, or even just Botox to like helps minimize some of the thing. But Botox or neuromodulators, I should say, just toxins in general, are not going to replenish some of that volume loss. Instead, you're going to have to use other ways to fix like texture, skin laxity, volume, all of it. There's so much you can do out there.
Yeah, and if you're in the menopause community, you're putting your vaginal estrogen on your face too.
I mean, just smother it all over the place.
Actually, now it's become such a huge deal that you see all these companies that are now making estrogen face creams, because literally women were using the vaginal suppositories that they were putting in and taking that and rubbing it on their face because it was supposed to help with the droopy looking of the face.
Yeah, no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
That's why I love asking somebody that's actually does aesthetics.
There's only so much that topically you can put on your face, and then for it to cross that skin barrier, for it to work on a cellular level, it's not going to do it. You got to do something on a deeper level for your face to shift. That's why, let's say, the Sculptra, the PLLA, is very important, and we'll dive into that later. Or fillers of course, without it being overdone. I like fillers within its
I know for people that don't see you, that's one of the things I loved about you when I first met you. You don't look overly done.
No, I don't. And I've had a lot of work done. I've had cheek fillers, lip fillers, jawline, but I've always done it in a way where I'm just tweaking. I'm not trying to change the way I look. I'm just trying to, one, just slow down the aging. And honestly, I don't want to look like shit when I'm 50. I really don't. I'm 43 years old. I want to age gracefully and do things that can help me because a lot of people think when you start doing work, oh my God, you're going to look horrible. You're going to be frozen. You're going to look pillow face over. No, it's not my jam. That's why I always tell people, look at your injector. If you like the way he or she looks, that's more like the way they're going to inject you. If you go to someone who's like overfilled, then you're probably going to, it's a money grab at that point. They just want your money, honey.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next question is about
Creatine. What's happening with
I know
that?
Nar sent me a message. It's just like let's talk about creatine because people are asking about creatine.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about creatine is I mean, I've been in the supplement industry. I owned 2 nutrition stores that I opened in 2007. So the really cool thing about creatine is it is one of like the most research supplements on the market next to like your fish oils. Like your fish oils are the only ones that they actually say anything FDA related about that fish oils can actually significantly help with blood pressure or heart disease. But creatine has been around for years and years and years and years. The thing that most people don't understand, especially women don't understand that we naturally have more creatine in our body. We naturally make more creatine. But if I go a little science nerdy here for a second, when you start breaking down energy, you have the ATP. So anybody's going to be sitting there going, yeah, I remember this in creatine. I remember this
in bio class. I do.
So when you take that ATP and it starts to break down.
ATP is your powerhouse, by the way, you guys.
Yes. So when that ATP breaks down, you have the ADP and then you have this phosphate group that goes over. The whole thing is if you bring in creatine phosphate, it can make more ATP in the body. So, but what we find with women is every single decade, we're losing just 3 to 8% of our muscle. So if we think about women in general, when we hit 40, there's all kinds of different things that are going on. There's the estrogen and progesterone. So you're losing those estrogen, you're going to be losing more muscle. Then if you think about it, especially in today's society, a lot of women are turning to GLPs. And because of the success of the fact that we have a very obese nation, but now we actually have a tool that can help these women that have suffered for so long. So when you're on the GLPs, you're drastically losing muscle if you're not doing your nutrition and you're not doing your strength training. So by supplementing with creatine, you can kind of just help. It's not going to be like this overall Band-Aid, like nothing we can do is going to make everything go away. But it's relatively safe. The key is that with women that are looking at doing it to prevent muscle loss and to prevent aging and the breakdown in their body, you don't need a loading phase. A lot of people, if you hear loading phase, that's where all that bloating and,
That's what I feel like when I hear that word, it one takes me to bodybuilding. Yep. 2, it takes me to looking buff and bulky. So I've never in my entire life have even considered taking that as a supplement.
And I'll tell you, when I had clients that were super, super lean, when I was competing with bodybuilding and I would get them ready, if they were super, super lean and I needed a little bit more muscle or a little bit more water in their muscle, I'd bring creatine in because that would help the women bring in some more water. Now, when we're looking at women that are over 40, it's not doing, and I'll be very honest, and I can link it in the show notes too. I take a creatine gummy. I've been taking creatine for 2 years. It doesn't cause the water retention. It doesn't cause the bloating. I take 3 grams of creatine every single day. I do it as a gummy only because I look forward to the gummy because the gummy tastes good. It's a lemonade flavor. And so I will take it every single day.
Yeah.
And I don't forget to take it. But it helps with body composition. It helps with aging. It's not a steroid. A lot of people think that creatine is a steroid. When I would talk to, and this goes at a lot of the moms that are listening to this podcast, you probably have sons that are looking at creatine. The biggest problem with creatine is dehydration because creatine is really focusing on it's shuttling that water into the muscles with the ATP and the energy so that your muscles can function better. In order for all this to happen, you need water. So it kind of goes back to with women, if you want to take creatine, that's fine. Make sure you're taking a good quality creatine. And again, I'm not going to go through creatine qualities or whatever. If you have questions, just ask me. But what you're taking should just have creatine in it. It shouldn't have a lot of added crap to it.
Yeah.
If you're taking a creatine gummy, it shouldn't be loaded with sugar. So the one that I have it's got stevia and coconut in it, so it's not loaded with sugar. But that's the key is you don't want it loaded with sugar, but it's great for all people. Very few people will have a reaction to it. I will say as you start adding it, probably in the first week or 2, you're going to have a little bit of water retention, but that's normal until...
Should you be drinking a lot of water with it though? I mean, imagine if you're dehydrated.
If you're dehydrated, yes.
And then it's pulling water.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be super dehydrated.
So I just tell women, make sure, take your weight and divide it by half. So if you're 140-pound woman, you should be having 70 ounces of water a day. So if you're doing that, then you should be fine with the creatine. But it's not going to make you look like a man.
Yeah.
Like I wish I in the days of bodybuilding, I would have given anything except for steroids. I never did steroids, but it didn't matter how much I ate and trained and did. I was never going to grow muscles like a man. I
Yeah.
wish like in the world of bodybuilding, I wish that was true. I wish I could have put on muscle like that. It just doesn't happen for women. No matter how hard you lift, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, it's a whole
You're
different.
not going to look manly. But there's also really cool research coming out about the cognitive effects of creatine, which I think that's really, really great because when we're thinking about Alzheimer's and dementia and all those kind of things, if creatine can help with that, and it's something as simple as a powder or something that you can add into your food, it's great.
Yeah.
Next one is, I think we're going to kind of tag team this or whatever. I saw this post and it made it, as soon as I saw this post on social media, and it's in one of the groups that I'm in, and I seriously wanted to write back and be like, okay, woman, you're so wrong. It was a woman and she posted this question and she said, I'm on a GLP. I've been taking a GLP for 3 months and I'm not seeing any results.
Yeah.
And so, I fired back because this is my area of expertise. And I asked her, I was like, well, how's your nutrition? I said, because nutrition is really key and it goes hand in hand with GLPs. Generally, if people aren't having results, then it's their nutrition. And she fired back at me so quickly. I was like, oh, okay, this is, keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
I have a nutritionist and I have a dietitian and I'm seen at this famous hospital with this dietitian. It has nothing to do with my diet. And I was like, and I'm sitting there going, okay, got to talk to Nar about this because if you've been on a GLP for 3 months, it should be doing something.
It's got to move the needle. It has to. There's no way that it doesn't. So people will react to the GLP-1 in different stages, right? So let's say when I microdose and I start you off on the first month at the lowest dose possible, it's because I just want your body to acclimate to the medication. Are you going to be losing 7 pounds on that first month? You're not going to. You're literally just getting used to it so you don't get sick. The second month, we bump up the medication. And now we're like moving and grooving just a little bit. We're moving the needle just a little bit. By the third month, you're starting to see it. Honestly, when I was on it, and I was like, is this thing even working? Like, it's not working. But I'm like, okay, let me just trust the process and let me stick it out for at least 3 months. So you have to give it a good 90 days. I know we're talking about nutrition and eating, but it's going to shift because it really does silence the food noise. You're not going to be consuming as many calories as you would at 11 o'clock at night, that midnight snack that you have, the weird munchies that you have in between meals. All of that gets cut out. That in itself is cutting out your calories right there. So the 90 days is essential for you to try. After the 90 days, I always tell people, if you're losing the weight in slow increments, you can either stay on the medication or you can bump up to like rev it up even more. If you're not losing, there's something else going on, which takes me to where are you getting the medication from? How much are you paying for this medicine? If you're getting it from online, is it meant for human consumption? Remember, these are not FDA approved medications, right? Are you getting it from, not to throw anyone under the bus, but a compounding pharmacy? What are they compounding it with? Is it salt substitutions? Are you plateauing? Did it work for a certain amount of time and it's not working anymore? If you're on xyz.com and you're getting it from that, where's the source? How is it being made? You want to make sure that you're going to a provider that you absolutely trust and you know that they're getting it from a legitimate company and you're going to pay the price for it. So if you want to like nickel and dime, and I completely understand it is expensive, but if you're going to get it at a cheaper price, one, don't fuck with it. I'm sorry, but don't mess with that because you're putting that in your body. So it's worth the money that you're spending. And I'm not saying you need to spend thousands of dollars. If your health insurance covers it, by all means, do it that way because I know you're going to get the real thing. But essentially, it is a cash paying business. So if you're paying cash for this, get a good, reliable source. Like get the medication from where you know it's the real thing. So I would highly recommend you do a little research and not just go after the money. $100 here and there is going to make a huge difference in your health. Who cares about your pocket? It'll, stop getting Starbucks. 5 days, $7 a freaking day that you spend on Starbucks.
Yeah.
No thing on Starbucks, but that's the whole thing. So just understand where you're getting it from. I think that's a really important thing.
Well, and I have 2 things to add for it. I had a client and she's on a GLP. She's a perfect candidate for a GLP because of where she was at. And so she totally plateaued and stalled. And I said, send me your nutrition. send me your nutrition so I can see it. And she sent it to me and I'm like, you're not eating enough. And I know you'll probably add on to this in just a second. But I looked at it and I said, you're not eating enough protein. And I said, you're not eating enough food and you really need to eat the food. So we bumped up her calories. And so this is something, and I'll give this to anybody that's on a GLP. So when I do nutrition plans and I'm looking at somebody and they're starving all the time and they're super, super hungry. So let's take my bodybuilding clients that have to go really low calories. And I've said it numerous times, bodybuilding is not a healthy lifestyle. But if I need to give you more volume so that you have, a 1,200 calorie diet, but you want to feel more full, I take all of your protein and I change it into nothing but meat. So I make it, chicken, I make it beef, I make it fish. Now it's the flip side. So when I work with someone and they're on a GLP and they're really struggling with it, I swap them to stuff like protein shakes or, this client specifically, I said, here's this protein shake that I really, really like. It's a very clean protein powder, but it's a lemonade flavor. I said, I just want you to add this in. So we added in 30 grams of protein. And the great thing is because it was just something she could sip, it was fine with the GLP. It didn't affect it, but she was getting in more food. And so that worked for her. And it was a great way to do it. So that is, and it's the same thing I did with all of my football players. When I needed to, and I know the moms that are 40 and have kids that are in football or whatever, and they come and tell you, so this is my struggle when I work with like young athletes and moms. Mom is sitting here going, I can't have these carbs and I can't have this. But she's like, my son is not gaining weight for football. And I'm like, because he needs to eat 6,000 calories.
Yeah.
And she's like, how?
You can't physically eat
So
that
then
much.
I do a protein shake because a protein shake by itself, especially if you're doing something that's just 20 to 25 grams in water, it's going to feel like nothing, but you're getting calories in. So my number one, and like I said, and this is why when I thought of a podcast and like met Nar, and I was like, this is just such, because we're different. And I wanted somebody that was so knowledgeable about GLPs because I've never done one. I don't use one, but I have clients that use them. So I wanted somebody that was so knowledgeable. But my biggest and number one, hugest pet peeve, and I'm going to tell you to get the fuck out of my face when people tell me this, is for the love of God, if you're going to be on these medicines, take advantage of the cutting of that food noise. Because I work so hard with teaching women that we have to bring down your insulin. We have to give your insulin a break because it's the only way you lose weight because they're insulin resistant. So when you are using a medicine that is going to help reverse insulin resistance and cut your food noise, please eat something healthy.
Yeah.
Please. And I'm not this like meanie, like psychotic meanie when I talk to people, but 80% of what you eat should be really, really healthy. The other 20%, I don't care. I don't give a fuck what you eat. Like that can be whatever you want. But use this because I hear people talk about they can never get off a GLP-1 or whatever. If you change your health and if you reverse everything and you fix the diabetes and you fix your insulin resistance, and maybe it's too expensive for you to keep microdosing or whatever, if you take every advantage that you're learning to your best advantage, you can absolutely go off of them. But people don't do the work to make it. Or the people that I still hear, we live in an affluent society. Oh, I'm just going to take the GLP to lose a little bit of weight. They eat like shit and then they do that. I'm like, I understand that and you're skinny, but you know what? Your skin looks like shit.
Yeah, you're skinny fat.
Well, even their skin.
Yeah.
Like I look at their skin and I'm like, I can tell you're on a GLP, but I can tell you're eating crap because your skin looks awful.
Oh, yeah.
So
I really like the protein shake aspect of it because honestly, Corry, since you've never done it, you physically cannot eat when you're on the GLP-1. Like you'll get hungry and then a couple of bites in, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so full, which is fantastic because honestly, you're not as inflamed or you're not bloated or all that stuff. But to supplement that with a protein. So for example, in the morning, right, I had bagel and cream cheese because I was starving. What I should have had is a protein shake because in the back of my mind, I'm drinking, even like the protein shakes where you put like a shot of espresso in there, which is fantastic because you get your caffeine and then like all the goodies are in that cup. You're just drinking it. So then by the time lunchtime comes, I can actually eat a meal. You know what I mean? But you physically cannot eat. Like I heard someone even say it was kind of like pregnancy. You're looking at food, you're like, oh. But that's no way to live. Come on. We all want to eat and enjoy, especially holidays and or even whatever it is. So having a protein shake or just a drink that has a protein powder in there, it's great, 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 great a substitute.
So we'll keep throwing in, obviously, all the stuff about HRT and GLPs and stuff. One thing I will add in that too, this woman did mention that she was on an HRT and a GLP.
Yeah.
So just so that everybody's listening. So HRT is the hormone replacement therapy. The GLP, those are, say the word, the full word.
The glucagon-like peptides.
Yes, because people are always like, I'm like, we just stick with GLP-1. But so with those two, I think a lot of people, the misconception people get is if they start an HRT, they'll lose weight. That is not necessarily the case. Just because you start estrogen and progesterone does not mean you're going to lose weight. And the number one reason, I mean, you guys should guess what I'm going to say, is because when your estrogen and progesterone start to change, it hijacks your insulin. And so that insulin is still, I will go down fighting and swinging and dying and saying it's all about insulin. So the makers of the GLP-1 drugs that put it all together and said, let's finally go after insulin. I mean, we are a nation that is insulin resistant. So, you know, I just wish I was one of those people that said, hey, let's create this. You know, those researchers that were like, let's put this out.
Billionaire.
There's the closest thing ever that you could give to a pill to reverse anything. It's this.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. This one, okay. I don't know why. I just get to be very vulnerable today. So
Ooh, this could be so fun.
I know, but people, so I apologize ahead of time if you are not watching this on video. You might want to just go watch the YouTube video on this. But I love people, but sometimes people are so bold. And people are like, you know, people have said to me, so I've had guys like at church one day, the guy came up to me and he's like, you're so pretty, but if you dyed your gray hair, you'd look so much better. I'm like, dude, like my hair started going gray at 20. At 40, I finally said, you know what? I'm going to let it go silver. And my hair has never been healthier because I was dyeing it since I was 20. But this one was like, oh, like stabbed to the heart. They're like, you're so pretty. And oh, I just love the fact that you've got those deep forehead lines and that you just leave them.
Let alone a guy saying this
and I'm
to
just
you.
like, but then I had a girlfriend that did that to me. She's like, you know, I really don't mean to take this. I hope you don't take this offensive. And I was like, oh God. Anytime somebody says that, I'm like, great, what's coming? And she's like, you know, you're on camera a lot. And if you like got a little Botox on your face, like that would really help. And so anyways, my husband's always been like, no Botox, no fillers, no nothing that's artificial, like everything natural. And, you know, it's always been natural. Even when I did bodybuilding and they're like, you're going to have to take steroids. I was like, I'll be damned. I'm taking no fucking steroids. And I did it. I got my pro card. I competed as a pro. I could never do it today because they're all taking steroids.
Sure.
But so I thought this is a perfect opportunity. So at 47 with the wrinkles on my forehead, and I remember when I was fitness modeling and I was like in my 20s and the photographer would say, don't do that with your forehead, honey. You're going to have really bad wrinkles. And now I'm sitting there going, God, I should have listened to that man.
Yeah.
But so given the fact that, you know, and I mean, I understand it's a process of aging, but with my forehead and the line right here, like what's even possible? Like if I decided, okay, yes, I want to try something, like what's even possible?
So much. You could do so much.
Okay, so tell people here so that people know, like, and if things change over, you know, it might be because, you know, I let the video cameras come in and actually do some of this and let Nar use me as like a case study and show all this to people.
Here's the thing. So when someone says to me, I've never gotten anything done before and I'm ready to get something done, I always say, what do you do for a living? And it's very important because some people are teachers or stay-at-home moms. They need some sort of expression on their face, right? For someone who says, no, I still want to get something done and without being frozen, so to speak, then I know how to adjust what I'm going to do, where I'm going to put the placement of my product. So just to, in layman's terms, when we talk about neuromodulators, let's just say Botox, the brand name Botox, but it's just all neurotoxins, right? It stops your muscle from contracting. So if you're constantly lifting your eyebrows, because let's just say you've got double hooded eyes and you can't see, so you're to compensate for that, you're constantly lifting your eyebrows, or you're frowning all the time because you're behind a computer screen, it's going to create these deep static lines where without any expression on your face, you've already cracked that skin. Eventually, let's say today's your first dose and we say, okay, Corry, you want some movement because you're on camera a lot and you want to still be able to move and have some sort of expression. We would keep your injection to a point where you're able to move and raise your eyebrows, but not to a point where you're moving so much so that that crease is getting deeper and deeper and deeper. But when you're on your Botox game every 3 to 4 months, that's the average time that everyone usually does it. It starts to wear off by the 4th month, 3.5 if the 4th month you're pushing it. But when you atrophy or relax the muscle, eventually those lines soften and get softer and softer. I had one woman that had never gotten anything done, and you only have one line between the eyebrows. The reason we call them 11s is because they have two lines, so it literally looks like the number 11.
Right.
So hers were so deep, and she stuck with me. And I kid you not, Corey, you would never think she had the 11s before, because you atrophy that muscle. So instead of it contracting constantly in the same spot over and over again, you're relaxing it. So then that crease gets better and better and better. So when I look at your face, yes, it's the forehead, it's between the eyebrows, but you're starting to have that, the bridge of your nose. You get that because you're squinting or you're doing that. And then you have these, we call them crow's feet. So it's like around the muscle when you smile. And when you notice that your makeup is sitting in your creases and your cracked skin, one, you have dry skin. And two, yeah, if you do a little bit of Botox, it helps to like open, and so you look refreshed, rejuvenated. That's the whole point of like the whole Botox thing. So could you use a little? Of course you can. I feel like everyone can use a little zhuzh, right? Why not? But it's a natural, I always say it's up to you how you want to age. But let me tell you, when you're 48 or 47 and you have so much going on, not in a bad way, but like you have so much going on with lines and creases and all that, by the time you're 67, 68, imagine double that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that you have to get it to look like you're 20. You're not trying to look like your daughter, but you're just trying to slow things down, just soften it a little bit. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's more along the lines of I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, it's so funny that you said where the makeup creases, because it's right here.
The creasing, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I see it. And I don't, it's so funny because I was meeting with my cousin and we were at Thanksgiving. She's like, I hate the line right here.
And they're like, I've never been a smoker, but I have these lines above my lips.
Oh, she's such a smoker.
Yeah.
But she was like, I hate the lines here. The lines here don't bug me. This doesn't bug me. This doesn't bug me. But it's like right here and my forehead.
You're very expressive. Yeah.
Those are the ones that bug me the most because they're so deep. And I'm like, there's got to be. I'm like, and
even if you do, let's say people are afraid to do, let's just say around the eyes, the crow's feet, if you do them, and if you smile, you're not going to have any expression. But that's not the case. Honestly, if you find a good injector where you're not too heavy, where you're like, oh shit, my eyebrows are like just drooping down, or you're like spocking like Jack Nicholson's eyebrows, like spock up like that. Yeah. You have to find a good right balance. And the rapport that you build with your provider is what's going to get you to your aesthetic goals in that route, So yeah, you should do it. I'm in. Can we all vote for this? We should do like a poll.
Oh, okay, there you go. There's the next one. Should Corry try out some Botox? And
Let's do it. I'll have you as my model.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Excited. I was like, and I just started thinking because of all the things that I'm doing, and it's just like you said, I just want it to be a little bit brighter. I don't.
We should do a good before and after on you.
Yeah, I don't need these people.
You come in, I'll do your treatment, and then we'll do an after of 2 weeks. And honestly, it just takes 2 weeks for everything to settle. You're like, oh, okay. And then you're hooked for life.
I know. I was thinking, I'm like going to my mom's for a while. I was like, maybe I should see you because I saw you. I have more appointments open. I'm like, maybe I should take.
I was trying not to open it, but I'm like, God damn it, holidays just get you. I mean, I'm not complaining at all. I love seeing everyone, but it's like, oh, can you fit me in? Can you fit me in? Can you fit me? Because like the holidays coming around. It's right around the corner, so everyone's trying to get in.
Yeah,
and look fly.
Yeah. Well, remember, I said, everything that scares me, I'm going to say yes to.
There you go. It's on video. It's on recording. We're getting you in.
Come February, I've got this very big thing that's good. There's going to be cameras and all kinds of stuff. And just there's a lot more on-camera stuff that I'm doing. So I'm just like,
do it.
And then once my husband said, I was wondering why you hadn't asked about it yet. I was like, oh, game on.
Well, watch. When you do it without telling your husband, he'll probably be like, why do you look a little different? Are you happy? Did you have an orgasm?
That's what one of my best friends always says. She's like, I always know it's time for my Botox when my husband's like, why are you so mad at me all the time?
You look so angry. Mm-hmm.
And she's like, it's time. It's time for the Botox.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So this one, slow aging or aging loudly?
Slow aging or aging loudly?
Yeah.
No, slow aging. I'm not trying to, no, we're quiet on the aging.
So this one is interesting.
What?
GLP or HRT? Which would you choose first?
Honestly, I'm going to go with GLP because Let me tell you why. A lot of people that I talk to say, Nar, this wouldn't have been possible. I've been trying to shed the last 10 pounds for the longest time. And then I just saw someone the other day. They came over to the house. I shipped the stuff to them. And they're like, I saw her. I'm like, holy shit, you look great. She goes, Nar, it totally wouldn't have been possible without the GLP. So that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
To get people feeling sexy again. That's what I'm trying to do.
I say HRT mainly because when I talk to women that say, I'm thinking about an HRT or I have all of these things, a couple different things. If you are of the age, you have to find the right provider, because a lot of times if you are 45 and still have a regular cycle, even though your hormones might be off, they're not going to give you anything unless you go to somebody that's a menopause practitioner. They usually reserve all of it for after you've hit menopause. But a lot of women say, I wonder if I tried this. So I'm in all these Facebook groups, and this one lady was talking about it, and she was so terrified of taking the estrogen pill, because everybody talks about, the increase in breast cancer risk and ovarian risk is slightly higher if you take the pill. But luckily, I had a really good provider that I tried. I knew I couldn't do the patch because I was allergic to the adhesives, but I tried all the creams, and it was giving me horrible reactions. I was breaking out in hives and all this stuff. And I said to her, can I try the pill? And she says, well, there is studies that show that, it's a little bit higher risk cancer and everything. I said, but I have heart disease and I have osteoporosis. And this was before I even knew I had osteoporosis in my family. I said, there are so many research studies that show that this will help. And I said, so can I try it? And it was a game changer.
Yeah.
And so with this group, this lady was terrified of taking the pill so bad. And I kind of shared my story, and she's like, I just want to let you know. She's like, I've been on the estrogen pill for like 5 days. And I was like, hallelujah. Try it.
Okay, good.
The best thing about HRT, try it. And if you don't like it, go off.
Get off of it. Yeah.
It's as simple. Another great friend too, she went on it, horrible. Like, she was like bawling in a room, and then she was screaming like a maniac bitch at everybody. And I was like, yeah, you don't need that. Get off of it.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to tell like that. So for women that I would say, if you are perimenopausal or menopausal, try the HRT and see, because it might help with the anxiety. Then what I would say is, if you're really struggling with that weight loss and you know that you've got those hormones in balance, then go talk to somebody about the GLP.
Yeah.
Because sometimes estrogen and progesterone, if they're not balanced and if they're not where they need to be, you're going to be insulin resistant.
Yeah.
And we already talked about it.
Yeah.
GLP-1s are an insulin drug. Okay, so supplements or Botox?
I'm going to do Botox.
And to this point, it's always been supplements for me. But I just have to give it a shot.
Yeah. I like it.
That's it for this one. Again, if you guys have questions, all you have to do, any social media post you see, if you know Nar or myself personally, just send it to us.
Because we take it into account, and we literally talk about everything you guys say to us, and then we're like, okay, what else? How are we going to reach you guys?
And we're never going to call you out unless it's like me calling myself out.
There you go. You did great. You're beautiful. I love you. You're
so
fantastic.
From sex to Botox, there you go. You got it all in one episode.
Wow, this was a great episode.
Awesome. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.